Here we go. Here we go. Let's see, is the brightness up? Is the brightness up? The 5G on. There we go. What's going on, everyone? Damn, I didn't realize people actually like... I did not realize that people are actually in favor of... I made a post today, and actually I got two things for you. One, this post I made that we will talk about. The other is a very interesting story that happened today. But first and foremost, because I just went through the comments, and it seems I have stirred up quite a stir with my post about Lil Nas X and posting about what's his other name, 6ix9ine, and the other person was Billie Eilish, whatever her name is. And I've never listened to any of those folks' music, but I have seen videos on BitChute that are exposing some of the true meaning to their lyrics. Very interesting. Or their music videos, which is also very interesting. But it seems that, and this is news to me, but because I don't follow literally satanic celebrities or listen to their music, the odd time, I don't realize that many folks who follow these pages may still be halfway there, kind of, oh, they know fluoride's bad, but they're listening to a guy who said he sold his soul, and they're listening to music that was, I mean, literally, we're going to talk about something a little more in depth too about music, 432 Hertz, the thing that got that other rapper assassinated. What was his name? You know who I'm talking about. Temptation, XXX Temptation. But anyways, it seems that many folks, everyone who defended the post, they're like, dude, no, man, you ain't talking bad about my boy 6ix9ine, who I never met, who I listen to, who doesn't know I exist, and I worship, and I mean, it's just crazy. But he says, you know, the majority of these people are saying, no, man, it's just their musical talent. Like, it's just their way they're expressing themselves. I'm like, oh, yeah, is that how you express yourself? Do you lap dance with a guy dressed as the devil? Is that how you express yourself? Hope you guys didn't see that video. But my point is this, is that's no. The industry is into that sort of thing. It's not, oh, I'm just expressing myself. Woo, haha. No. It is the industry. Go listen to what's that guy's name? Not Kevin Hart, but was it? There's a black guy who was video recorded talking about how they tried to put him in a dress. Dave Chappelle. And they tried to put him in a dress. And he was like, dude, I don't want to wear this dress, man. I'm not wearing this dress. And the producer comes up and says, dude, we got this awesome scene. It's going to be hilarious, man. You're going to wear this dress. We got a dress for you. He's like, dude, I'm funny enough as it is. I don't need to wear a dress. He's like, no, we need you to wear the dress, man. He's like, dude, look, I'm funny enough. I'm not wearing the damn dress, so please. And then eventually the higher up producer, let's say, comes up and says, dude, you got to wear this dress, man. We got a hilarious scene. People are going to love it. You're going to make them laugh. And so it started getting pissing him off. He's like, dude, I ain't wearing no dress. And anyways, they ended up saying, okay, fine. And they gave him a totally different scene. And then he's like, how did you guys write up that script so fast? Almost as if they had the regular script, but they wanted to do this other type of script for this industry. So very interesting. But I do notice that what's Lil Nas X's real name? I'd rather just call him that because it's just kind of cringy. Like Lil Nas X. Like, I mean, please. I grew up listening to a different kind of Nas than this Nas. I'll tell you that. Not grew up listening to him, but, you know, that was one of the folks. You got Big L, you got Nas, you got Biggie Smalls. Who's the other guy? Of course, I haven't listened to... anyway, my point is this, is that it's very interesting that dude got extremely famous, okay, from the song Old Town Road. And then, turns out, he makes this video after 1 million folks have followed him, 1 million young children. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana, which I'm going to make a video on, although I know it's a bit sketchy because I knew a lady who had a YouTube channel called Spy Kitten. Only look at this channel if it's even still up if you want to actually learn very strange things about, for example, XXX Temptation's expose is on there as well. We're going to talk about selling your soul today as well. But anyways, not how to do it, but what exactly that means. But Spy Kitten had a bunch of videos where she was literally going through, very famous music videos and saying, look at this symbolism, look at that symbolism, look at that weird thing, look at this in the background. Did you notice that? Yada, yada, yada. And very interestingly, anyway, she no longer posts, but she was one of the most in-depth, and guys, remember to ask questions at the bottom right corner of your screen with the little question mark, please. Don't make me ask you again. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I'm watching this and I'm thinking, Spy Kitten's making these videos, and all of a sudden she stops posting. She's not updating anyone. Now, why would you all of a sudden stop posting on your multi-million, I don't know how many followers she has, but a bunch. She had a lot of videos that had over 1 million views. Why would you just drop that like a bag of sand? I mean, you think you'd want to maybe direct your audience to a new place or update them or something. But no, she just completely dropped her entire audience after exposing some very devious things. So many people think something nefarious happened. My point is that it's not that these rappers are just expressing themselves in a kind of quirky way, like shock value, etc. Okay? XXXTentacion made 2 albums in 432 hertz frequency, which I've never listened to any of the songs of. But I have heard that some of them are decent, but I still don't really like that kind of music. I prefer, you hear this music in the background? 432 hertz, Mozart, all right? But my point is this, is that he exposed the nefarious frequencies, the frequencies that they have tuned all the musical, the radio, the all these major record labels, all the music comes out at 440 hertz, which is a frequency of sound that is not good. It is an unnatural sound wave. Let me tell you this. Every sound in nature, from crickets chirping, birds chirping, your voice, it's all resonance. Now, someone maybe not your voice, but I know that the natural world, natural sounds, it's 432 hertz. It's the sound of nature. It's the natural sound waves. 440 hertz is tuned to an unnatural frequency band, which is literally was discovered by what 8 Bud just said. 440 hertz was made by, and I'm not saying that word out loud, boy, because that's one way to get it triggers an algorithm. But anyways, one day they'll be able to detect the word you thought of because your mind will be connected to AI, and then they'll fact check you that way. You got to watch out. We can't be giving up too much of our freedoms to this technology, man. But anyways, so no, sorry, people who are defending, 6ix9ine and Billie Eilish and what's his name, Little Nas, that no, they're just expressing themselves, man. You're just hating on them. Some woman said, I do not like looking at a white person criticize a black person. Dude, I didn't even criticize him. I just said, who made that video for him? And secondly, technically that lady discriminated against me based on my ethnicity, which is, I thought we're not supposed to be doing that anymore. But anyways, yeah, it's a bit weird that the guy did that music video. Sorry if, do you actually listen to that guy's music? I mean, this is my point. This is my point. That it's not a coincidence that they all come out and promote very strange things. They're involved in an industry. How about this? And I posted this video on my TikTok today, by the way, because we're raging on TikTok now. There's a scene from the movie, and again, this is going to go over many folks' heads who are not really paying attention to how deep this goes, okay? But I posted a video that shows, again, from the industry, the entertainment industry, okay, of the movie Monsters, Inc. Monsters go into a room, children scream, energy is harvested into a canister, and then that's what powers their city. That scene will hit you differently if you're aware of a word I'm not going to talk about, but is talked about in the entertainment industry sometimes. Also, that guy who people were defending, yes, created the Satan's shoes, which had a drop of human blood in it. Nike's suing him for that. So all I'm saying is this industry may not be what most people could fathom. It may not be. And it doesn't It's not, they're expressing, this little Nas is expressing himself, man. Billie Eilish, she's expressing herself. 6ix9ine is expressing himself. These people contracted with negative entities. These people literally, you could say, sold their soul. What do I mean by that? They didn't literally give up their soul in exchange for cash. They contracted with negative entities. They contracted with people you don't want to meet, you don't want to be near, okay? And this is involved, this is a global, this is not a isolated, it's the entertainment industry. Why? Because your perception is based around, okay, your perception is based around the entertainment that you're exposed to. It changes your perception of the world. So if millions of children are listening to quite vulgar and putrid lyrics and songs from these people who do very evil things and devious things to get to those positions of wealth and influence and whatnot, what does that do to the perceptions and minds of millions? How about Hannah Montana? Cute little Hannah Montana doing her thing. Okay. I used to watch Hannah Montana, man, the odd time. I could get a laugh out of it. Her dad, funny stuff, man. And then she turned into wrecking ball, naked woman on a ball, talking about a wrecking ball, destruction. The destruction of the family unit is what she's pushing. And then she's later on doing, I typed in something I shouldn't have typed in on Google Images, man. And I said, Miley Cyrus on stage. And all the articles are some of the things that she wore to concerts where kids and their parents were watching, thinking, oh yeah, man, Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus, let's hear the latest tune. Woo woo, yeah. And she's on there wearing a, I'm not even gonna, it's disgusting, okay? And millions of young women watched her turn in from a cute girl to a literal, I don't even know what to say. And so my point is this. Did she decide that on her own? Oh, she's expressing herself, man. Every celebrity goes from chill to whack, and they're all just expressing themselves. No, sorry, but this is a little darker than, and look, you're going to leave this live feed, you're going to have laughed once, and you're going to have learned something. That's my guarantee to you. But we do have to discuss that these people are not just woo-woo, expressing it out. No. One may be involved in a very strange organization of people that do very strange things that you wouldn't do. So you don't fathom, you don't think that that anyone else could do it because you wouldn't do it. But that is called naivety. Humans' naivety could be our greatest downfall. Because I wouldn't do something bad to you. You wouldn't do something bad to me, likely, except some of you damn haters out there who have done a couple things that I'm about to talk about in this live feed, but I'm not trying to give you guys attention, but some of you guys are real bastards, boy. But other people would do those kinds of things. And that's why people say, oh, these corporations, you think they're all in on it? They wouldn't do this. They wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. These folks have been doing it. Think about the folks who, literally sank the Titanic and invited all the richest other folks in the world at the time to go on the Titanic for this crazy ride. And the Titanic sank, and an hour before it sank, a couple influential folks said, we're not going on the Titanic. Titanic was an inside job. You had a hard time wrapping your head around 9/11? Wait till you hear about the Titanic. Or should I say, the Titan. Because that was the real damn boat that sank, if you will believe that. It's very, very interesting. If you actually look, they had a book, okay, that was written 10 years before the Titanic sank. And it was all about how a boat this size, the unsinkable ship, yada, yada, yada. It already told this story before it happened. And then it happened to me because they didn't have TV back then. Because they didn't have, maybe they didn't even have radio. I guess they definitely had radio. Maybe radar. I don't know. But maybe that's their little version of predictive programming. They still had to tell you they were going to sink this ship. But instead, they wrote it in a book. But anyways, and then some lady commented and said, what's wrong with Billie Eilish? I kind of listened to her. I think she's all right. And this is the type of person who I wouldn't reply with, oh, you dumb sheep, which some people do in the comments when someone asks a genuine question. Please refrain from making fun of other people who are asking questions. Like a dude up here said, what's wrong with fluoride? All right. And imagine if I was so rude and said, you idiot, you don't know. That's not how you're going to help anyone to become aware. Because if you remember, you, just like me, didn't know at some point as well. Unless you were born by parents who didn't ultrasound you, didn't C-section you, didn't pharmaceutical you, had a natural birth at home, maybe in the forest, and then never did anything else strangely medical procedure to you and gave you breast milk, and you were brought up properly, maybe then you knew from a very young age, because you didn't have an altered birth, that, maybe you were born knowing that. But the rest of us didn't know. And so don't chirp other people when they don't know it. But anyways, my point is that someone said, I wonder which one I'm going to answer first. Billie Eilish, the way I'm going to answer Billie Eilish, what's wrong with her, I'm not going to talk about it on here, because something very interesting she just posted recently, not today though, and I put it in my Telegram channel because I can't even mention what she just talked about today. For the lady who said, you damn bastard, you just made fun of a girl just for being goth. No. You may not know. Go to the Telegram and you will see exactly what I'm damn talking about why Billie Eilish may be involved in some stuff you don't want to be listening to. Because think about it. It's not just about, it's what you consume, which isn't, that's talking about food. I'm talking about, it's what music you listen to, what entertainment you watch, what music you listen to. All these things are frequencies of sound and frequencies of light and frequencies of information. And how do those frequencies affect your own frequency? If you're listening to music that's at 440 hertz and they're on there saying, yo, bitches and mother effers, yo, that may not actually be that good for your subconscious mind. I know that may be like someone's like, dude, no, you're bullshit, man. I love this. I love that. Hey, and it's not just that. There's also other music that's not like that you may not want to listen to either. That's not good for your subconscious mind. You can be a fan of that person and, support them as if you know them and not support friends and family and those around you who you actually know. But in my opinion, you don't want to listen to stuff that's not uplifting. You don't want to listen to stuff or literally absorb any entertainment that is not bettering you, because you got to be very selective with what vibes you allow entering into your damn life. That's true. Now, so the problem with Billie Eilish, the only way you'll be able to find that out is by going to the link in my bio and joining my Telegram. It's literally 2 posts ago. Don't go there yet. Go to the Telegram after this live feed. It's in the link in my bio. And that's a private Telegram channel, which is an app unlike any other app I know of. And it's no algorithm, no censorship. Any post I make, you get to your phone. And it goes right to your phone. And I use voice notes. I text you, goes right to your phone. It's an amazing thing. So make sure you join the private, uncensored Telegram channel while it is even public, because I might shut it down soon. There's already almost 70,000 people there. It's another Instagram, yo. It's another different realm of information to be shared. I'm posting there all the time. So yes. Now, the other question was, what's so bad about fluoride? And just to answer this guy really quickly, the bad thing about fluoride, if you go to school, they'll tell you, dude, fluoride is great, man. It's for your teeth. The government is adding a chemical to your water to help your teeth. Woo! Did you fall for that? Please. Did I? I don't know if I ever did, because I never even knew about fluoride until I heard that it's a bad thing. Before that, I never heard of them saying fluoride's good. I never even heard of fluoride. Then I find out fluoride is added, and there's actually a bit of controversy to it. And for some reason, I don't know why, I don't know who I owe who I owe my gratitude to. But for some reason, when I heard that fluoride may not be good, and I'm on Instagram 5 years ago, and someone's making posts, fluoride, man, it's toxic, yada, yada. I'm like, damn, what would these folks really benefit from? What would these people benefit who are making posts about fluoride? What would they benefit from saying that? Probably nothing. What would the other side of the fence benefit from? It wasn't hard for me to wrap my head around. Maybe the government, and I'm not talking about your local official who's maybe chill and, you know them and they're chill. I'm talking about the system, man. There is some elements to it from the tip top that are influencing the bottom levels, and they're the ones who are putting this fluoride into the water. And just so you know, if a truck, let's kick this guy out just because that's pretty weird. If a truck full of fluoride crashes, then they send a hazmat crew to come clean it up. And that same chemical gets added to your tap water. And so please don't think that, this thing is really good for you, for your teeth. But if you get it directly on you, you can die. And in low doses, it's safe. Please. That's the same thing they say about atrazine. Now remember this. that the guy who exposed atrazine, Tyrone Hayes, was completely roasted by the mainstream media, and the company that he exposed, he worked for Syngenta. If someone's just tuning in here, because I want to actually hear, has everyone heard of Tyrone Hayes? I'm curious to see how many new people are on the live feed every time we do it. And I talk about Tyrone Hayes regularly, but I want to know, how many of you have heard of Tyrone Hayes and atrazine? If you have, say I've heard of him. If you haven't, say who's that? And I will talk about him. But I want to know, because this is perhaps one of the most hidden, like, they're not talking about this. They're not talking about this. They buried this story. Look how many people are saying no. Okay, with that being said, let's just talk about this for a minute. A guy named Tyrone Hayes was a biochemist. Okay, this is very important. A biochemist. He was working for Syngenta. If you haven't heard of Syngenta, they have made some of the most neurotoxic chemicals in human history, and they have partnered with chemical weapons companies. So companies that make weapons of chemical nature. Okay. And those companies, so this company, Syngenta, started making pesticides and herbicides. But before they make this herbicide, they do a little tiny bit of testing that's pretty much just has to say it's safe. Otherwise, they alter the results of the test. So Tyrone Hayes was a biochemist who said, okay, I'll test this. Let's test it out. Let's test it on frogs. So they're testing this chemical called atrazine that they want to spray on the food that millions and millions of people consume. So they test it. He finds out that male frogs that are sprayed or are exposed to atrazine end up reversing gender. They stop producing testosterone, start producing estrogen. Their genitals shrink and reverse and change into the other sex's genitals. When he blew the whistle, you're thinking, who cares, dude? So he obviously told them, and then they stopped spraying it, and then they didn't, use atrazine anymore. No. Syngenta made him sign a non-disclosure agreement, which means he can't disclose anything to do with the findings of this test. So when he then says, he goes home to his wife and daughter, and they're like, "How was work today, man?" And he's, man, I probably didn't say that, but, how's work today, Daddy? He says, "Oh, it was great." And he's thinking, this is him on an interview. He's like, "I couldn't have went home and said, yeah, I found out this crazy thing's happening, and, and now I can't tell anyone about it because the company made me sign an NDA." So he said, no. He went to the media. He compiled his studies. He broke the non-disclosure agreement and spilled the beans and said, "Hey, this company has this chemical herbicide, atrazine, and they want to spray it on the food that you and I eat." Okay? And of course, Syngenta comes out and starts digging up information. What has he done in his past? Who's his exes? Let's look at his bank history. What does he buy? Who does he spend time with? What's he doing? What's he drive? What's he doing? What, this, that, boom, bang, bing. They start surveilling the guy. They're trying to find something on him so that they can discredit him, so that he doesn't seem like such a scientist anymore. Okay? And they tried to succeed, but didn't really succeed. They looked into his wife. It's very interesting. And then he's still alive. No, he is still alive. But this herbicide atrazine is still sprayed to this day, even after he exposes. Now listen, if you're in a community and some guy down your street starts kind of spraying a toxic chemical that's going to negatively affect you and your family, you and all the dudes in town, in the community, would show up at his house, okay, and sort out the issue. Now, in this situation, unfortunately, that didn't happen despite millions and millions and millions of people, maybe not enough actually, maybe not millions, finding out this company is spraying this toxic chemical, and none of us, let's kick this dude out, and none of us, they're still allowed to spray it despite it being exposed that it is toxic. Okay, that's Tyrone Hayes, Hayes. This chemical, if you have consumed any non-organic greens in the last, pretty much since maybe 10 years ago, you have atrazine in your blood right now. Right now, there's atrazine in your blood. In North America and in Europe, they started to spray it as well. Atrazine. Zine, whichever one you want to say. Atrazine. And they put that and that's in our bodies if we have consumed non-organic greens. Now, they're also trying to spray it on other things. Now, it reverses the gender of frogs. I'm not going to say what you may consider that to possibly do to humans. All we know is this. It, in fact, disrupted endocrine system function. So that means any guys who have non-organic greens, for example, and there's other foods that it gets sprayed on we'll talk about, your testosterone levels plummet. And testosterone is falsely associated with aggression and violence, but the truth is that testosterone is, in fact, the most critical male hormone. We're going to talk about women as well, for sure, of course. We're all about inclusivity here. But the situation is the testosterone levels plummet from atrazine, which this guy proved is toxic. Now, the truth is that an ample and optimized level of testosterone is what calibrates brain function. I'm talking about for men, motivation, confidence, drive, the need, their will to succeed, And so if millions and millions of people are consuming a chemical that lowers, and guys specifically, consuming a chemical that lowers their testosterone levels, is that going to confuse them? Is that going to cause mental, brain fog? Is that going to cause, dysphoria? Are they going to be confused? Like, what's going to happen? Who knows? Because the trial is undergoing as we speak. We're still a part of the research. So someone who says, I've done my research on atrazine, man. No, you are the research, because they haven't done no research on it. Now, for women, well, the same thing, a similar thing happens, is that your endocrine system completely out of whack. What does that affect? That affects reproduction. Are we talking about a possible, is that going to have a problem with reproducing? Is that going to have a problem with reproduction and, the population? Is this part of a depopulation situation or something? Because if millions of people have altered endocrine systems, guys have lower testosterone, lower sperm counts, women have less ability to reproduce. This seems to me, especially when a top-ranking biochemist blew the whistle on it, they still do not ban this ingredient. So when someone tries to tell you, tax the rich, and they're all exposing Jeff Bezos, for being an evil guy that he is, it's such a distraction. These whole corporations that are destroying a generation of people with these toxic chemicals, that should be on the forefront. We're not talking about pesticides. We're not talking about these ingredients. We're not talking about these pollutants. Instead, we're talking about race. Instead, we're talking about, can you not see? To win the war, you got to divide the armies. To win the war, you got to divide the armies. So what are they doing? They're dividing the armies. They're chemicalizing the entire nation, and largely the world. And then they're getting us to fight amongst ourselves and point fingers at someone down the street or our neighbor or someone over here or someone over there. Instead of having you unite against these corporations that literally want you yourself genetically modified. And what happens? How does that happen? Well, consuming genetically modified foods don't help. And atrazine is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. Atrazine is just the tip of the iceberg. Glyphosate is just as bad in a different way, and we'll talk about glyphosate later on. But I want you to know that, yes, I've consumed many different non-organic kales, arugula, lettuce, all these things, which contain atrazine. So I had atrazine flowing through my veins, and I was feeling sort of weird. No, I'm just kidding. But, it's not good for you. It lowers testosterone. It's not good for you. It's not good for anyone. It's not good for the frogs, all right? It's turning the frogs. No, I'm just kidding. You guys seen that video that went viral? Everyone makes a joke about it when you talk about these frogs, this frog test, which they fact check, by the way, so you got to watch out. But I'm going to talk about more about this, but I cannot, there's elements of this that I cannot speak about on Instagram. So make sure you go to the link in my bio after this video or whenever you got to leave. And although you got to stick around to the end, mandate, go join my private uncensored Telegram channel where I can post things that absolutely cannot be shared on here, that I do think that is very important. There's 70,000 people on my Telegram channel, and it's a pretty amazing place. Everyone's commenting. People are sharing information and news, and I'm sharing posts from around the world. I can't post some of this stuff on Instagram. You got to understand that. I have been booted several times. I have gotten, unfortunately, many things deleted and whatnot. And so I got to be real careful. I'm walking on eggshells, basically. But my point is this, is that it's not irreversible. You can rejuvenate and restore. They did a study in Sweden. As soon as you stop consuming toxic herbicides and pesticides and things like that, of course, the levels of them in your body drops. So if you go fully organic, your levels of harmful contaminants will drop. But the problem is that the damage that those chemicals did while they were in you has a decently long half-life. Like it did damage to your system that needs to be rejuvenated and restored. That doesn't necessarily rejuvenate and restore if you just stop consuming it. Someone said, do I have to pay for Telegram? Telegram's completely free. Link in my bio. Link in my bio to join that Telegram channel. It's very, very important. I want to tell you guys things. There's things I will literally want to tell you about right now that I have to completely bite my lip, bite my tongue. All right, I got to bite down because I can't talk about it on here. Please join my Telegram. I got something to tell you. Get on there now. All right, please. And by the way, someone's asked me these questions. You know, some of these questions people are asking me on Instagram. It's like they're just starting to pay attention. Like, hey man, what do you think about the? And then they're talking about the you know what that everyone's talking about that everyone's getting right now. All right, and I'm like, dude, yeah, you can't ask that. They're monitoring DMs. Like, I'm not trying to give any advice over the DM. Get me on Telegram. We will talk there, okay? Please, at me on Telegram, all right? Now, that being said, you can rejuvenate and restore your system. You're not destined to be damaged from these ingredients that unfortunately do cause endocrine system disruption. Like the guy in here, I forget his name, but he just sped by, but he said, dude, what do we, like, are we really permanently damaged from these? I don't think so. Scientists may say, oh, you can't rejuvenate it. And of course, if you go 50 years on these chemicals, it's going to be tough to rejuvenate yourself back to year one, when you hadn't had any of these ingredients and whatnot. But I will say this, okay? I will say this. There are, and this is why I talk about this regularly, the natural world has something to combat every toxic thing. So let's say this, certain chemical pollutants that get spilled into the environment. There are certain mushrooms that if you plant but you inoculate these certain, I guess it's like a row of material, maybe it's wood or something, and they put it in a river that's toxic. This river is completely poison. And they put this special mushroom, they inoculate this soil type of thing with this mushroom, and it pulls the pollutants out of the water, okay? So what I'm saying is, the natural world has a solution for every single devious and toxic thing that is out there. For example, someone said my pineal gland is fully calcified. How do I decalcify it? If you type in on really any search engine, how to decalcify the pineal gland, one of the first things that pops up is a mushroom called chaga, C-H-A-G-A, okay? Chaga extract. And chaga, the reason why it can decalcify or is believed to be able to decalcify is because it has the highest antioxidant content in the natural world, and an antioxidant is something that fights free radicals. Free radicals are things like toxic fluoride, toxic GMOs, toxic chlorine, all these types of things. And so chaga is a natural antidote for a calcified pineal gland. And people say, I used to have chaga all the time in tea and whatnot, but I found it much more convenient to be getting it in an extract form. And that is one of the main ingredients in Chalk's 7 Wonders. This is 7 of the world's top adaptogenic mushroom extracts, including chaga and including lion's mane, which, like I said before, has a clinical study on the ability to induce nerve growth factor. Nerve growth factor is something that basically tells your brain, make new nerve cells, make new neural stem cells, okay? So that's the 7 Wonders, which has 7 different of the top medicinal mushrooms in the natural world. The other thing that pops up, and this is why I want you guys to kind of get on the same wavelength with me here. The other thing that pops up on how to decalcify the pineal gland, okay, is Shilajit. But most Shilajit you got to watch out for. But it's interesting that, I'm telling you right now, the folks over at Chalk, okay, the Chalk supplements, know exactly what is going on in the world today. The intentional bleeding of vitality from the population, the intentional siphoning of energy, the intentional everyone sitting in an office building under CFL or CFL light bulbs and LED lights, which sap energy from them. That is true. Monsanto invented LEDs and everyone's sitting under them. Their houses are lit up with them and it saps energy from you. It is not good for your endocrine system. That is true. And that is what happens. And so Chalk is very aware of that. The Shilajit, 8 different clinical studies on this specific source of Shilajit. And it is believed that Shilajit can also decalcify the pineal gland. The other thing that Shilajit does, which is actually rather widely known, but this has the specific clinical studies to back up, is that it increases memory function for men or women. It balances, okay, endocrine system for men and women, which means that guys, it'll boost testosterone for men and it will balance hormones for women. This is a superfood. Like I said, the natural world has an ingredient for every single, for literally a antidote for these strange chemicals that these evil, I will say evil, folks are plotting on my and your demise, okay? They're plotting on our demise. They're wanting us to demise. That's not a proper grammar, but you know what I'm talking about. They don't necessarily per se want me and you vibrating high, vibrating at a heightened frequency, energetically, quantumly heightened vibration. They don't want that. That's why fluoride's out of the water. That's why I take the purified Shilajit. Optimize your endocrine system, increase brain function, increase memory, concentration, and focus. Shilajit is that ingredient that grows or exudes or basically pushes out from the sides of mountainous crevices and cracks in the Himalayan mountain ranges, okay? And it oozes out, and it's a substance that they use hot water to purify it, and it increases the potency, and then they evaporate the water and it creates a concentrate. That is the purified Shilajit. And remember that the purified Shilajit is the main ingredient in the Chalk Daily. The Chalk Daily is the only one that's specifically for men because it has 4 other adaptogens in it, which are believed to be more suited for men according to ancient Ayurvedic scientists. So the Daily is the #1 supplement for men. And if you guys can type this out for me, because I can't say this anymore because I got a post, I got a notification. I violated the guideline by goddamn commenting on my own live feed and pinning the comment. Please, guys, write the deals for me. Chalk temporarily extended the 2 discount codes that they had, and this is the last call for them. They opened it 10 to 15 slots because the deal was closed last night. Nobody was able to use the codes overnight, and then Chalk opened up a whole bunch of messages this morning of people saying, you got to extend the deal. I didn't miss out on the deal. So for anyone who missed out on the first round, Chalk has a temporary extension using the code 53LIFE for a 53% off lifetime discount, or use the code 60OFF for 60% off all orders store-wide, and that's chalk.com, CHOQ.com. Senpazio09 said, Chalk boosts all testosterone? No. The Shilajit and the Tongkat both have a clinical study that when men take these adaptogens, their testosterone levels go up. But it does not have the same effect on women because it is an adaptogen. It adapts to the individual's needs and requirements. Very, very good question. The other thing, someone said, what's the one for telomeres? So telomeres, T-E-L-O-M-E-R-S, telomeres is the part of your DNA which dictates how fast or how slow you age, okay? And one of the main ingredients in the Chalk Armor is a root extract called astragalus. Astragalus was clinically studied, okay? Clinically studied to lengthen telomeres in your DNA, which means anti-aging effects. That is the Chalk Armor, anti-aging. I love the armor, and it's actually a very beautiful color. It's yellow because there is lemon balm extract in here. Very, very powerful superfood. Someone said, how do I plant my own Shilajit? You can't. It oozes out of the sides of mountains over thousands and thousands of years, okay? Thousands and thousands of years. Bad Gal Julia said, wow, it's like adrenochrome, haha, but not evil. Yeah, I wouldn't compare it to that, but yes, it has anti-aging effects. The Shilajit also, because it has C60 in it, carbon 60, has an anti-aging effect as well. Shilajit and Armor, powerful anti-aging compound. Someone please type out for me, 53LIFE, 60 off, chalk.com, and please comment that for me, and so people can see what the comments are. 53LIFE is the lifetime 53% discount, which is an insane deal. Or use the code 60OFF. Now, the best deal, if you're overseas, is 60OFF. It's a coupon code, gives you 60% off all orders store-wide, takes all the shipping off your cart, and it drops the bottle cost heavily, okay? That's best for anyone overseas. But if you're in the United States, the best code to use is 53LIFE, which gives you a 53% off lifetime discount on any subscription or bundle, okay? DM me if you have any questions, by the way. That's at chalk.com, CHOQ.com. And make sure that you use these codes. Don't use any other codes you see even at Get Chalk's Instagram. Use my codes, all right? Don't use their codes. Use my codes. If you found about it here, you want to make sure that you're using the right codes. I always got the best ones. 60 off. Dragonfly Wings, it's 60OFF. That's it. No capitals, no lowercase. It doesn't matter. Make sure that you get either the big discount on a multi-month supply. This is why it's the best deal. Especially, remember that the clinically studied benefits of chalk supplements for endocrine system balancing, brain function, the Action 2.0 for all-day natural energy levels, These types of things, the clinical studies are based on 90 days of consistent consumption. So you do either want to subscribe or you want to get a multi-month supply at a deep discount using the code 60OFF. Someone's asking about microplastics. Yes, allegedly, because of all the microplastics today, most people, and by the way, yes, chalk does ship worldwide. Most people consume up to a credit card sized amount of plastic, okay, per year in microplastics. Now, the problem with these microplastics is that they convert to xenoestrogens or xenoestrogens. I always overpronounce it. But xenoestrogens basically have an effect on your system that mimic estrogen. So if guys getting exposed to microplastics drops your testosterone levels, women, it heightens your estrogen. It throws everything out of whack. It disrupts your endocrine system. Okay, it disrupts your endocrine system. You want to make sure that you're rejuvenating and restoring your endocrine system. Thank you, Christina GEZ. I appreciate that. Oh, damn, I just hit her. Oh, man. Christina Jez, hold on, I got to write that down. I was trying to pin her comment, but I accidentally kicked her out of the live feed. Here she is doing me a favor, so I got to actually make sure that I unblock her because I always feel bad when I kick someone out and they actually didn't deserve it, which is rare. I usually am pretty good. I kick you out if you, come on. But anyways, so make sure this is, like I said, temporary extension. Please do not message me tomorrow saying, dude, the code, I didn't get to use it and you're pissed off. Make sure that you use the code while it is still active. That's 60% off all orders store-wide. Best deal for overseas. Or use the code 53life for a lifetime discount. DM me if you have any questions. Like I said, for men, the most popular combination is the daily action. Boost testosterone, increase natural energy levels all day natural energy. And for women, the most popular is the Shilajit and 7 Wonders, or the Shilajit and the Tomcat, which both are adaptogens that are literally superfoods and also have a very interesting effect on your endocrine system, being able to optimize and boost brain function, energy levels, and not to mention very beautiful hormone balancing. You will see a difference. You will 100% see a difference. If you start taking these, you take the 90-day chalk challenge, you're going to feel like a different person because your system being completely optimized. Someone said, is chalk patented? No, it's not patented. It's obviously trademarked. But when you see patented on the website, the extraction process for the Tomcat and the hot water purification process for the Shilajit are both patented. So if you see the word patented, that's exactly what what it's talking about. Make sure chalk.com, CHOQ.com, DM me if you have any questions about any of the supplements. All of them are formulated to work in conjunction with one another. We need to be in a heightened state. We need to rejuvenate and restore ourselves from years of pollutants which make us other than healthy, unfortunately. Like I said, DM me with any questions, 53life or 60OFF. Those are the coupon codes. Much love, everyone. We'll talk extremely soon, and make sure you get in my Telegram channel as well. All right.